So one school of thought in improving oneself is, they say, to watch and listen to someone who is more successful than you in pretty much any endeavor. So today we're going to see if that's true when it comes to hitting the ball longer. We're going to be taking a look at a video by Joe Miller, who's won the World Long Drive Championship and is one of the fastest golfers on the planet. So we're going to be watching one of his tips videos to see if it is effective, watching and learning from one of the longest, fastest golfers in the world, and hopefully it's going to get us some more yards off the tee for our games. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve with HitItLonger.com. As you know, I'm on a mission to hit the ball longer and straighter off the tee, longer and straighter from tee to green, because that is what makes golf fun for me. If you agree and you're on the same journey, then by all means hit the subscribe button, like this video at the end if you liked it, and leave a comment down below to push along the YouTube algorithm in my favor. And hey, I want to give an enormous thank you to everyone who's liked and watched and subscribed to my videos in the past year. We pushed through a milestone last week at over 25,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. I'm your humble servant. I'm here to hopefully help your journey into the golf the golf world get a little smoother and easier and more fun, and I will continue to do so as long as you hopefully keep watching. So in honor of this milestone, we had a special cake made up, a special YouTube 25,000 subscriber cake made up. Here is a slice of cake for you. I hope you enjoy it. Again, thank you very much, and I hope you'll keep watching. Okay, so on to making you longer off the tee. Today we're taking a look at the swing, and we're watching and listening to Joe Miller. He won the Remax World Long Drive Championship twice. He boasts a speed still of well over 150 miles an hour of clubhead speed and over 225 miles an hour of ball speed. Absolutely phenomenal athlete, super strong, super powerful, super fast. He has posted a 1 minute 5 top tips video on his channel. We're going to watch it together, and I'm going to maybe help you put some of those tips into better context so that us everyday golfers that don't hit the ball 400 yards in the air can use these tips to get a little more speed and distance off the tee. Let's get going. 5 top tips.
Okay guys, so here it is. 5 top tips in order to increase the distance. Number 5.
Tee the ball
up high. Okay?
So Joe says tee the ball high. This is a really good idea, but it's not going to work all by itself for some golfers out there. We've really got to keep this tip in context. So while teeing high inevitably will be a good thing for your distance, as it's going to encourage an upwards angle of attack, higher launch and everything, but it's only going to work in this context. So let's say we've got this thing teed up nice and high, and you've got, let's say, 3/4 to almost a full golf ball above the crown of the club. This will not work for you if you are an over-the-top steep golfer who hits down on the ball. This is also not going to work very well for you if you're playing the ball in the middle of your stance and you don't have ball position to go with this. So the 2 things you've got to have, and I know this is going to be coming up as another one of the tips, but it's really, really helpful, keeping this in context, to be coming in shallow from the inside into the ball and be playing the ball very far forward in your stance. I recommend getting it all the way up past the heel, all the way to the big toe, or even to the middle toe in some cases. This is what a lot of long drivers do to hit up on the ball. That way they can hit it higher in the air for longer air carry, and then they'll use a somewhat lower loft to get the roll out of it too. All right, let's keep watching for number 4.
Okay, now number 4. We're going to move the ball forward in the stance. Okay, I want to see that on that left toe, outside the left shoulder.
Okay, so number 4, he covers and puts better in context tip number 5, which was the higher tee. These two ideas really need to go together, tips 4 and 5. Forward ball position, higher tee, and the problem is that this still doesn't keep in context a steep over the top or outside in swing. And if you did these tips at home thinking that you're going to pick up some distance, well, probably what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up hitting sky balls off the top of the club, leaving marks on the top of the club, and you'd probably pull the ball to the left. So keep in mind the context for moving the ball forward as you're teeing it up. It's going to need more of a shallow inside out swing. You will not be able to make this work from a steep over the top swing. It's got to be shallow and inside out in order to make these two tips work. But when you have a swing shaped like this, when you evolve your swing in this direction, these first two tips, number 5 and number 4, Joe's talking to us about, are really going to give you a boost of distance. I'm guessing somewhere between 20, 30, maybe even 40 yards onto your average drive when you put all this together. All right, let's listen to tip number 3.
Tip number 3, spine tilt on the way back. You want to be leaning back,
okay,
lateral bend to the right, all the way through,
okay,
still leaning back, okay?
So tip number 3, Joe's talking about creating a side bend at address. Now he's talking about doing it this way, where I'm going to leave my belt buckle in the middle the way he's doing it, and I'm going to tip my spine sideways and give it a tilt and put my head out of center, more over towards the right. And this might work for you if you do it just a little bit, but I'd be really careful about making this your go-to, because it becomes really easy to get stuck on the back foot with your head way behind center, and it certainly becomes a lot more difficult to get your body going around the corner. So while it might affect your angle of attack a little bit and even help shallow out and get you swinging from the inside more, you got to be really careful with this one. It might hit you some high draws, but you could easily disappear into the land of the push and the duck hook and the drop kick drive as well. Instead, let me advocate this to you, where we create the same side tilt, not out of moving the head out of position to the right. Now, of course, we are wanting to get the belt buckle about 6 or 7 inches in front of the chin. But I would do it this way. I would set like this. I'm going to push the belt 6 or 7 inches out in front of my chin while keeping my chin centered between my feet. So now I've created the side tilt we need to encourage the upstrike and the low inside shallow swing, but now the head's staying more steady in the center, where I've got my weight under myself better, and I'm also creating a better preview of impact, as I'm going to be trying to work my belt buckle several inches out in front of my chin in a real swing at impact as well. All right, let's look at tip number 2.
Okay, tip number 2, you've got to have a full backswing. We want to finish that turn, okay? We want to see that club coming behind us as far down as possible, increasing that shoulder turn.
All right, he's talking here about making a much bigger turn. He's talking about maximizing out your turn. So for this, what we really want to work on is not only working on the shoulder blades, but this is a big tip about leaving your comfort zone. So you're not going to swing it as long as he does. He swings the ball, he winds up like a helicopter blade, because he just really needs to get maximum speed and distance. You've got to worry a little bit about keeping it in play, and you don't have maybe the physique Joe does, the flexibility, nor maybe do you have the time to train like Joe does. So all I would ask for you is you work on taking this shoulder blade and pulling it back, feeling like you're pushing your scapula or your shoulder blade against your spine, while meanwhile you are pulling the left shoulder blade away from the spine, almost forcing the left shoulder to get under your steady chin. In addition to this, I would encourage you to practice leaving your comfort zone. So don't just swing on the range like you always swing. I would really recommend that you do 5 or 10 balls a bucket where you try to wind the swing up longer and wider. So let me see if I can give that a try. I'm going to see if I can give my best long, wide backswing with a big shoulder turn here. All right, and let's listen for tip number 1. Here we go.
And the number 1 tip for anyone who wants to hit a ball further, swing it as fast as you can.
All right, so here Joey's talking about his advice is try to hit it as hard as you can. And to some extent that's true. Everything Joe's saying here, there's nothing invalid about anything Joe's telling us here. I just think a lot of this needs to be put into better context for the average golfer. Now, when Joe says hit it as hard as you can, again, I would encourage you, like in tip number 2, I would encourage you to practice leaving your comfort zone several times a bucket on the range. Well, that would mean in the last tip, like we were trying to make a bigger, wider, longer wind up, and that didn't feel, comfortable to me. I haven't practiced making that big of a turn lately enough times. So I'm a little bit not used to it. The same thing here. You try to add a little more speed at the bottom. Now with the magic of editing, I've gone back and I've gotten my favorite training aid, this Whippy Speed Whoosh. So what Joe's talking about here and swinging as hard as you can, it's certainly not guiding or steering through the impact zone, but really freely letting it go, moving into uncharted territory for you. Doesn't mean you have to strain and moan and scream and hurt yourself, but you do want to move into uncomfortable territory with the freedom and the speed. When you swing fast, I like to say swing fast instead of swing hard, you'll get a swoosh sound like this. Nice loud swoosh sound. And I'm being aggressive and I'm swinging faster than I ordinarily would on the course, because you're not going to get faster until you train faster. All right, thanks so much, Joe, for the tips. I'm gonna see if I can make a swing putting all 5 of them into play at once. That means higher tee, forward position, secondary side tilt to the spine at address, mimicking that at impact, bigger wind up, faster speed, trying to swing faster, what he says harder at the bottom. Let's give it a chance here. Hey, I hope 1 or 2 of these tips are gonna fall right into your wheelhouse and you're gonna use them to get a little bit extra yardage. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Steve. Thanks to Golf Development Complex in Moorpark, California for hosting us today. And as usual, if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I run into you and I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Take good care.